Hello, everyone. Good morning. Nice to be here again with you today. I hope you're doing well. Today, I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about a little bit of the history. When we use this word yoga, many people equate it to the Vedic traditions, the early Vedic traditions. However, we do realize that through study that the Buddha himself had teachers, which are not usually very much elaborated on in the Buddha's autobiography that was created about 300 or 400 years after he was alive. I think maybe a little more, but in actuality, um, there were these teachers that taught these particular traditions, which was in the concept of what they use the word tapas. Tapas is a kind of burning, or um, it comes from the word for heat or fire, that to burn away one's perhaps negative karma, etc. And that through different practices, that was one of the basic concepts. And it's interesting because recently I've been studying that actually some of the earliest texts, when we speak about yoga, where there's a few different types of yoga uh, that they call the idea of hatha yoga, which is or karma yoga, which is the idea of dealing with karma or action. They have the idea of kriya yoga, which is the idea of how do you say, worship or adoration. And the last one is Dhyana yoga, which is, of course, as we were practicing today, Dhyana, meditative yoga. But that actually the earliest scripts that they have of this actual hatha yoga, or this yoga that in how do you say, uses the body, is actually come from the Buddhist sources, um, such as from Buddhist universities such as Nalanda, etc., where the Buddha, and through Buddhism, these different types of lineages, of course, with based around the concept of Buddhism, Ayurveda, which is a study of life, which is actually a type of medicine or health practice, and then the idea of sitting practice, and then the idea of even body practice. So it's very interesting. I've been studying this, and it seems like these manuscripts you would imagine would be in other traditions, but actually the earliest that they have, speaking of these physical movements, about 1,000 years ago, is in a Buddhist manuscript. So all of these things are interrelated. Um, of course, with the Buddha's insight, we practice a particular way. And then, as we know, even with our practice of Nichiren Buddhism, Nichiren Shonen's insight, we practice a particular path, a particular method. And the important thing is that these methods, that we learn to practice them correctly, because far too often people try for a little while and then give up. And yeah, we should be able to see the benefit in our practice. That is essential. So therefore, sometimes people engage and stay in practices or religions that may not be working for them. But the important thing is that we change our life, that we find peace within ourselves, equilibrium, that we realize perhaps our true nature, as is the goal of Buddhism, right? So the goal is very essential to understand that. People usually practice spirituality with a whim to just feel better than the present situation they have. Maybe they've exhausted all options, um, or maybe they've uh, found out that engaging in certain things, desires that are short-term benefits over the long term may cause illness or sickness. So very important that as we enter the path to practice, that we dedicate ourselves, and that means time and effort. Diligence is a very important fortitude, as we see in the six paramitas. Because if we practice haphazardly, we may get some benefit, and that's fine. But if we really wish, there has to be a certain tiredness of things as they are in order to progress further with change. Many teachings use this through their dogma or theory to show the true state of the universe. So if people study their doctrine, they realize, oh, this world is difficult. So therefore, they want to go to next world or change it. In Buddhism, we need to come to the realization of our present situation. And if that present situation is not satisfactory to us, we need to be able to understand what we can do to change that. And then also to realize that it's unsatisfactory. Because if you are okay, then your practice will not be strong. But if you really wish to relieve your suffering and gain insight and calmness in your life, then you will progress because you will have the diligent nature, forbearance to continue. So with that, let us purify ourselves. If you have your incense, purification is a very important part because we are preparing ourselves as much as possible for meditation. So therefore, before I practice, I take a shower and wash and prepare many things. If you have to, just wash your face, brush your teeth. Um, it's essential to realize that this is a sacred thing and that we distinguish that. Hence, we sit in a particular posture and practice a particular method. So as we purify ourselves, we have the incense that we've offered. Let's go ahead and prepare our body. So please prepare your posture so that you're stable. Very important to have a stable base. So therefore, if you're sitting on the ground, your two knees and backside are touching. If you're sitting in a chair, same thing, but move up so that you can keep your body straight. If you sit in the back of the chair, it tends to go forward. So move up, keep your back straight, feet touching the ground. Okay, so there shouldn't be any stress in your body because, again, as we said, we're quieting the body. Okay, so with that, let us just take a moment and check in with ourselves. How are we feeling? Today is, of course, December 1st. It's a new month. This is the deepest part of the season of the element of water. So as I stated before, we go more deeper into ourselves. Perhaps if we don't have this practice, we may have the illness of thinking too much, causing depression, feeling isolated. That is one of the challenges in this time of year. And so therefore, this is another essential reason for understanding our body and cultivating our mind and natures through meditation. So take a look. We see how our mind is today. Is it foggy? Is it calm? Scan our body. How's our body feeling? Do we have any aches? If we have any aches, one of the tradition is or tenseness. Tense up for a minute and then release. Okay, you can do that one or two times. And then put your mind there and relax for a moment. Relax that spot. Okay, and then we're gonna feel outside. Very cold today, but actually we're very lucky we have internal heat, so very comfortable. With that, let us prepare for meditation. Place your hands on Hokkai Join. Tuck in your chin. Push back your shoulders, ears over your shoulders. Okay. Tongue at the roof of your mouth. And we're going to begin with 3 purifying breaths. Okay, so let's breathe in through our nose and exhale through our mouth. Let's breathe in. Hold. Exhale. And imagine all of the negativity and stress coming out. Good. Second round. Hold. Exhale. Good. Last round. Exhale. And as we prepare ourselves, let us sit straight, close our mouth, begin breathing through our nose, exhaling with Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, and inhaling with simply observing the sound of the bell. Allow your mind to melt into concentration. As we hear the bell, let us release our concentration, come back to awareness of our body. Let us sit in the stillness for a moment here and feel and become aware of the current state. Let's come back a little more, moving our fingers, toes, body. As we check in with ourselves after we come out of concentration, how are you feeling? What has changed? Has anything changed? Has it become more relaxed or more complicated or more stressful? Now, again, in the idea of mindfulness, we don't judge, we just simply are observing. Okay. That is, in order to use other capacities or other abilities besides mind, we have to have this particular state in which we can simply observe, because mind is constantly taking the information and compounding it into something that needs to be explained. And we simply, if we sit in explanation, we get caught up. We start to make ideas or stories, which may or may not be true. So therefore, we are led into this despondent mind, confusion. So by sitting with meditation, we can be able to see from a different perspective, a different angle. Okay? And in doing so, we have a more, I believe, rational and a deep understanding of the way things are working. And this allows us to have to create a better action, to change our action, which would be our karma, from probably negative to positive. That is the goal, to relieve and minimize certain aspects of our life that cause suffering. And one of the only ways we can do this is through mindfulness and awareness. So I hope all of you will have a wonderful day. I hope you will continue after this meditation with your morning service, reading the sutra. In the future, we'll talk more about these aspects and do some physical aspects of yoga as well that I have learned, and also to learn the techniques within our tradition of Buddhism to allow us to go deeper into this awareness. Let's put our hands together in Gassho. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Please have a wonderful day, and I look forward to practicing with you again next time.